We learned Sunday that President Biden was diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer. Yesterday on this show, I was joined by the co-author of Original Sin, which accuses the former president and many of his closest advisors of covering up his cognitive and physical decline. For more on this conversation, I want to bring in our Executive Director of Elections and Surveys, Anthony Salvanto, to help us look back at our own CBS News polling related to questions surrounding the president's bid for re-election. Anthony, based on our data, what can you tell us about the public awareness as we were able to sift it about any concerns about his ability to carry out a second term or decline?
Hey there, Major. Look, I think what you do here is you get context, and I think it's important to separate the personal and the political. Well, let me start with the political, by which I mean this. At the time that Joe Biden announced that he was running for re-election, you found a sizable, this chart is among Democrats, from April of 2023. And you find a sizable number, 45%, who said they didn't think he should run. But the real second beat on this that shows some of those underlying concerns, if you will, was that when I followed up and asked them why they thought that, if they did, the top answer was his age. And always in politics, you might get this feeling that, get somebody new, et cetera. But it was that his age part that really stood out. And if you dig a little deeper into this, and that never abated, by the way, I should say, when we got into the fall and we asked things like, what do you think would happen if, in this case, either candidate were elected, you saw that a lot of voters didn't think that Joe Biden would finish a second term if he were to be elected to one. And what that did was it created a lot of uncertainty there, right? What do you get if you vote for somebody? So that was kind of lingering as well. And I'll note this, it also had implications, I think, across other elements of policy, Major. You know, even when we asked to describe the candidates, this is in the summer of 2024, before Joe Biden dropped out. He had big deficits on descriptions, things like energetic, things like effective, that maybe, in fact, if you see some correlations, were related to some of those suspicions. I will add this, though. It wasn't just particular to Joe Biden in general, because you often see when we ask if legislators should serve over the age of 75, a lot of voters tell you that it does raise concerns about their job ability in general, Major.
And just to underscore what you said at the top, Anthony, even in 2023, there were ways we could look at the data and see simmering concerns among Democrats, those most theoretically aligned with the president, about his ability to serve and serve through the future.
Yes. And in fact, if I jump to June of 24, and there were other measures that we looked at, like, do you think, in this case, either candidate had the mental and cognitive health to serve as president, I would point out this. You get almost a third, you get almost 3 in 10 Democrats who did not think that Joe Biden did. And so that was large. Look, it was larger among Republicans, but it was large among independents as well. That's the political side of this, as much as it is then those concerns generally about his overall health. And I should also add this, Major. You don't want to talk about movement on this. In particular, it was after that first debate where we saw a dramatic move in the numbers overall that I just pointed out. So that's a little bit of the context. That's the personal assessment, the suspicions about what was happening, and also the political.
The data helps us tell the story, and Anthony helps us tell the story the data tells. Anthony, always a pleasure. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.